Happy Sunday. Well, it's Sunday here. I don't know. It's probably different day. It's probably Monday where you guys are, but Sunday here, Sunday night, 7 o'clock. Hope you guys are doing good, amazing, stupendous. I do know there was a NASCAR race earlier today that they did race in California. I didn't really watch it because I was watching basketball throughout the day, so I haven't even checked it out, so I'm not even sure who won. But I'll probably check it out after this video is done. Hope you guys are doing good. Loathed to loved. Jeff Gordon, you guys know. When I was watching NASCAR, he was like my favorite NASCAR driver. I don't know why. I was just always a big fan of Jeff Gordon, my guy, my dog. Jeff Gordon's reception story in NASCAR. So we are finna check it out. We are finna see what this is talking about. Shout out to NRF Productions. And let's go ahead and just get started, man. Very, very, very looking forward to this. Jeff Gordon.
November 1st, 2015,
Jesus.
Jeff Gordon prevailed to win his final NASCAR Cup race. A surreal moment to experience, but that was nothing compared to the atmosphere in Martinsville. Hearing the loud cheer of a near-capacity crowd as the four-time champ celebrated on the front stretch. Just hearing the reaction made it one of NASCAR's greatest moments in the 2010s. Throughout the early 90s into the 2000s, unfortunately, Jeff Gordon was notoriously the most hated driver in the league. He was far familiar with boos, obscure gestures, and even a beer can from time to time. This was rather puzzling considering Gordon never came off as arrogant when he won. You didn't see him brag or gloat about his prized possessions.
They trashed him, my guy. God damn, they trashed him, my boy's car. My man just won a race. It seemed like man just getting pelted.
Helmet
Jeez.
showcased his immense talents and made his name as one of NASCAR's
That car is
top
fine.
drivers.
That car design is too
Wasn't
hard.
Controversial behind the wheel. That's as long as you forget Phoenix 2012, which was a pretty cowardice move on his part. He wasn't afraid to use the bumper, but oftentimes he raced the competition smart and clean. It's a question I've wanted to gain more definitive answers to. Furthermore, this is the story of Jeff Gordon's fan reception in NASCAR. Unlike many of NASCAR's youth in the 2010s, Jeff Gordon made an impact.
Look at that mustache.
His rookie season consisted of crashes and inconsistencies, but he did claim the ROTY award. This was a strong class featuring NASCAR champions Bobby Labonte and Todd Bodine. In 1994, his sophomore campaign, Gordon won 2 crown jewels, the Charlotte 600 and the Brickyard 400. He led a lot more laps and finished 8th in the season point standings. To emerge as a top driver in NASCAR, howbeit that meant going door to door with the Intimidator. Many argue Dale Earnhardt was, and still is today, the textbook definition of stock car racing. A tough Southern driver who came from nothing, worked hard, and became a top NASCAR Cup racer. Without a doubt, his car and style on the racetrack matched up with his personality.
Rest in peace.
The North Carolina resident was coming off of 4 championships in 5 seasons.
Damn!
He was definitely a driver you didn't want to mess with. Yet, Jeff Gordon, a hefty and flashy 23-year-old, would not be intimidated. The Rainbow Warrior went into Atlanta, Rockingham, and Darlington, beating Earnhardt head-to-head on the pavement. Ultimately, it was Dale Earnhardt celebrating during the season-ending Atlanta 500 as the race winner. With a win in New Hampshire, Gordon captured the points lead mid-season and never looked back. His 1995 granted him 7 victories, but most importantly, his first NASCAR Cup championship.
So he achieved all of that 3 years in. Oh my gosh. First day first, rest in peace, like I said, Dale Earnhardt. But 4 and 5 years, 4 championships in 5 years is impressive. But Jeff Gordon getting his first ring, his first championship, whatever, in his 3rd year. I'm not really sure how common that is in NASCAR. Like I said, I damn near forgot a lot, but I still remember some stuff. But that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Obviously, 2nd year, we started to see, a glimpse of flashes of what he could be. His 3rd year, winning championship. Jeez.
Even if his career went haywire from this point, he could always say he beat Dale Earnhardt to win a championship. That's a pretty damn good accomplishment if you ask me. With competing on the racetrack and on the point sheet, it created a rivalry. Now, it was more of a friendly rivalry between the 2 drivers. Dale Earnhardt and Jeff Gordon themselves rarely had dust-ups on the track and were good friends off of it. In fact, at one point their respective crew chiefs Andy Petrie and Ray Evernham even shared notes with each other. From the fans' perspective, this was a deeply divided rivalry. There was no middle ground between the two. You either went for Jeff Gordon's powerful, flashy image or the tough blue-collar persona of Dale Earnhardt. While Gordon won a lot of mainstream viewers, a majority of NASCAR's core fan base leaned towards Earnhardt. Following that title, he continued to win, and win some more. From 1996 to 1998, he won 33 of the 96 races.
Woo!
In baseball terms, he'd have a 343 win average.
That's pretty good.
Considering he's just one driver in a 43-car field.
That's damn near 1/3.
2 championships, and had he been a tad more consistent, he could have rattled off 4 in a row.
Whew.
Because of the dominance, Jeff Gordon wore the black hat in the late 1990s, early 2000s. Not only that, but he was doing it in his 20s. Typically, experience was seen as the key to success in championships. It was rare for youth to compete against the Bill Elliots and Ricky Rudds of the series, let alone beat them. That all changed as Jeff Gordon broke out as a NASCAR superstar. NASCAR fans would watch as their favorite drivers who've been competing for decades come up short to the 24. Sterling Marlin, a career year in 1995, was no match for the Rainbow Warrior. Mark Martin, meanwhile, put up elite numbers in 97 and 98. 11 wins over 2,500 laps led in his number 6 Valvoline Ford. It's his time, considering so many close but no cigar seasons for the driver hailing from Batesville, Arkansas. Yet, it was that number 24 DuPont Chevrolet that disappointed Mark's fan base both seasons. He refused to lose attitude. Jeff Gordon, Ray Evernham, and crew were equivalent to the New England Patriots. Until, of course, protege Jimmy Johnson and Chad Knaus absolutely dominated the late 2000s, early 2010s.
Now, I know this. I do know about these two. I think he won like 5 or 6 straight. You guys said Jimmy Johnson won like 5 or 6 straight. But my man Jeff Gordon just going crazy in the 20s. My man didn't win 1/3 of the races. Like a span, over a span of years. That's ridiculous. Like, that's ridiculous. Well, that's one car. It's like out of like, 42, 43 drivers? Sheesh.
Coupling all these factors led to Jeff Gordon becoming a polarizing driver.
Of 1998 and 37th career victory.
Why they booing my boy? Fans mad because he winning.
They gotta have somebody to love, and they gotta have somebody to move for, and they got Gordon to move for tonight. At least some of them did.
One lap too soon, and he should have drove right up in front of Gordon going down into one. He should have made him lift. That's just.
As you can tell, he was revered at tracks like Atlanta, Charlotte, and Darlington. There were even some rumors created about Gordon attempting to plague his performance on the track.
Wow.
Jeff Gordon, just a simple kid excelling on the track, became the most hated driver of the 1990s. Even as Dale Sr. passed on, Gordon continued to win races and championships. That continued success didn't win him many fans behind the catch fence, albeit he would receive cheers from the crowd now and then.
Against the wall and hit Tony Stewart with the left foot, so he's on both sides of the DuPont Chevrolet. And he's headed down pit road. The pit roads are not open. They have no fault.
And they're stacking up behind him. There's Ricky Rudd behind the wall. 42. 21 car got heavy.
What the heck?
And they're still wrecking Allmendinger, Robbie Gordon.
Boy, I don't feel good about Jeff Gordon at all.
Oh, Jesus.
Leg right there.
The applause for Jeff Gordon wrecking couldn't compare to one location, Talladega, Alabama. The Talladega Super.
Now, sorry, pause, but I do know Talladega is, if I remember correctly, like Talladega, like the races, or whatever, is absolutely crazy. Like the track in general, but like the races are like crazy. Like a lot of crashes and stuff happen at Talladega.
Speedway was one of Dale Sr.'s playgrounds, with son Dale Jr. following his winning
Jesus
heritage.
Christ.
He rattled off 4 victories in a row, further strengthening the name Earnhardt Country.
Yes, sir, Dale Jr.
DI and Hendrick Motorsports were the best cars at play
Budweiser.
tracks, which meant the Flame DuPont Chevrolet commonly traded paint with the red Budweiser Chevrolet. During the 2004 Aaron's 499, things steered to another direction. After a Brian Vickers spin with 4 to go, the caution flag was brought out. Dale Jr. had taken the lead, but according to the last scoring loop, Jeff Gordon was deemed the leader. In an era before the green-white checkered rule, the race wound down to the finish. Jeff Gordon broke DEI's plate win streak, winning his first race of 2004. Honestly, Dale Jr. fans were justified in their frustrations. It was undoubtedly a questionable call, and the race should have been able to restart.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, a lot of anger was lashed out on the player in this flawed game. Doing his burnout, the 24 Pepsi machine was pelted with aluminum cans alike. To make matters worse, after the race, Gordon had to go to a suite as the race winner. That meant he had to walk through the grandstands to get to that destination. 3 years later, Jeff Gordon won his 5th race at the Super Speedway.
Jesus.
This wasn't just any Talladega win, howbeit. In front of thousands of Earnhardt fans, Gordon won his 77th career Cup race. That broke a tie with Dale Sr. on NASCAR's all-time wins list. The date was also April 29th, which just happened to be the Intimidator's 56th birthday. Once again, hundreds of Budweiser and Miller cans poured down from the Talladega grandstands. It seemed the Jeff Gordon distaste wouldn't eradicate for some time.
Y'all folks crazy, god damn. Oh my god. The man, oh my god. Now that battle at Talladega between him and Dale Jr., I do agree that should have been re-raced or like re-lap, redo that, lap or whatever. But golly, them fans like give a crap, man. Hey, them NASCAR fans, hey, they're going. Hey, I will say this: they're going to ride for their favorite driver. Of course he ties or breaks record on Dale Sr.'s like birthday, whatever. How ironic! How ironic!
Surprisingly, the turning point seemingly came 6 months later. In the midst of a championship battle, the 2007 UAW Ford 500 was a critical race. Four-time spent a majority of the race in the back, longing to avoid a catastrophic blow to his drive for 5. As the trophy was on the line, the 24 marched up to the lead pack. The Hendrick Motorsports trio raced to the front with teammate Jimmy Johnson leading the way. In terms of the championship, although it was a great day as an owner, it would be doomful as a driver. They were teammates on the track, but rivals on the point sheet. A win by Jeff Gordon could mean the difference between victory and defeat. On that final lap, the Flame Warrior would make a daring move for the top position, catching the draft of Tony Stewart, the 24 past the 48 to win and exit with the season points lead. The flashy vengeance style of Jeff Gordon rekindled on that October afternoon, creating a great finish for the spectators. Unlike Talladega races, there wasn't a beer storm after the checkered flag. In fact, you could hear some loud cheers on the ESPN broadcast. Finally, it seemed as Talladega was respecting the talents of Jeff Gordon and how
Thank you.
For fun to watch.
Thank you.
In 2008,
Jesus Christ.
further swung the pendulum in Gordon's favor. The first, Gordon had a regressive season. No wins for the first time since 1993.
Wait. What year was this?
How he made NASCAR fun to watch. In 2008, two critical events further swung the pendulum in Gordon's favor. The first, Gordon had a regressive season. No wins for the first time since 1993. This began a stretch of 3 seasons with...
So my man was, 14 basically straight years of winning. My math's probably off. So I'm going to say between 13 and 15 years, about 13 or 14 years in a row, a man had a win. That's impressive. Then he go 3 years without one.
Just a lone victory in 2009.
All right, never mind.
Teammate and protege Jimmy Johnson was on a streak of 5 titles in a row.
Yeah, okay.
No longer was Jeff Gordon a flashy young driver breaking the hearts of fan bases. On a 7-year championship drought, he was becoming like the Mark Martins and Ricky Rudds before him. This was the first time in his career that Jeff Gordon was showing age. The biggest thing to come from 2008 was Dale Jr. joining Hendrick Motorsports. As a part owner of HMS, Jeff Gordon at first was hesitant about Jr. joining the organization, mainly because the thought of Dale Jr. and Jeff Gordon as teammates was troubling to some fans.
I do know that,
Including
though.
the boatloads of money from the sponsorship deal and Jr. merch, it was a great long-term move for
I do
Gordon's
know that.
reputation. Being teammates with the sport's most popular driver connected Gordon to those Earnhardt fans that despised him. Now, I highly doubt Junior Nation bought the Flame gear and adorned any 24 merch. Not to mention, many still disliked him for the first few years. Yet, Jeff Gordon wasn't public enemy number 1. After all, Junior might have never raced at HMS without Gordon's help. In fact, Junior Nation found a new antagonist that season in Kyle Busch.
Yeah.
We all know what happened on that spring evening in Richmond. Junior, riding a 71 race winless streak, was spun off the nose of the number 18 pedigree Toyota. The 4th-year Vegas driver instantly became an enemy of Dale Jr.'s faithful. Keeping into account, he was more brash in his youth than Gordon ever was. As his career wound down, the respect for driver 24 strengthened with each passing year. Of course, you had victories such as Indianapolis. The Yard of Bricks as well as Sonoma were usually the few circuits Gordon would call home. Many likely saw him race midgets, which he succeeded at in the early 1990s. Then you had Texas 2014. In the past where fans would have roared as Gordon cut a tire, they were egging him to go after Brad Keselowski. After the Texas-sized brawl, Jeff Gordon was the one universally supported in this altercation. By his farewell season,
I know
Jeff
that,
Gordon
'cause
wasn't
we saw
anywhere
that.
close
We
to
saw
the young
that.
kid of the
We saw that
1990s.
fight.
He was the crafty veteran, much like Dale Earnhardt was as Gordon emerged onto the scene. For one, his paint schemes carried a different look. Back in the 90s, early 2000s, it would have been obscure for Gordon to drive a dark-colored car. Yet in 2015, his primary paint schemes consisted of black, red, and silver. I would say this was one of the more interesting paint scheme progressions in recent NASCAR memory. Meanwhile, he was a driver you didn't want to mess with. After all, he was the most accomplished and longest tenured driver in the field. His driving style still differed from Earnhardt, but his image was semi-relatable. And
I'm also a fan of drivers switching paint schemes during their career. There's probably some drivers who know Jeff Gordon from his earlier days, you know, what the rainbow colors till now. I know Jeff Gordon more regarding like these type of colors. Like I do think, I'm not sure how long he was with DuPont or DuPont as that sponsor, but I think I do remember some of those races. Like I said, it's probably going like years ago. But I do remember the Pepsi one and like the black, you know, and obviously this one as well. I do remember that one, but
his driving style still differed from Earnhardt.
I like the creativity.
Relatable. And with one last ride, much like they did with Dale Sr. before him, the fans showed their appreciation.
What a season this is starting off as for Jeff Gordon.
Feels good. Let's see. Yeah, you got it. Good job, guys.
Like that car was nice as well.
Cheer from the crowd. The last race at Talladega Superspeedway. Amazing. You can hear the near 60,000 people over the roar of 43 engines, but you could hear it there when Jeff Gordon took the lead.
In the end, I understand why Jeff Gordon was revered by most NASCAR fans. He was a young, deferring driver compared to the traditional stock car racers. He challenged Dale Earnhardt's reign in the 90s. He didn't have much of a personality because he rarely suffered defeat. He was the bad guy, the black hat, constantly besting the beloved veterans of the sport. Yet Jeff Gordon became a driver that constantly bested the veterans to, well, one of the veterans.
Yeah, so this is the DuPont I was referring to. Not like, you know, his rookie days, but like this DuPont. I do remember that. I do remember Dale Jr.'s and that. National Guard. I think that's Tony Stewart, Jimmy Johnson, stuff like that. So
as he aged as a driver and a person, they came around to appreciate his driving style and his
that scheme hard.
3 years of Cup racing. Regardless of whether the fans loathed him or loved him, he was a driver that brought out emotion. We could certainly use more NASCAR drivers today that evoke that same passion. So anyways, this is NRF signing out, and
man, it's a stud. My boy Jeff Gordon. That's very, very interesting though, man. Hearing from his beginning days till now, specifically in NASCAR. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Don't forget to like the video and sub as well to the channel. We'll see you guys later.